Okay, welcome back to No Man's Sky, everybody. Today I'm going to do a video that I know I've already got a few videos about, but there seem to be quite a few people that are still very confused about the whole issue of hotspots, and how to find them, and all sorts of details surrounding them. So, we are going to go from scratch. Okay, so literally all I've done so far, this is the planet that I did that golf video on. So all I've done is I've got my base computer thrown down. So I have no idea how this video is going to go, but in theory, you should be able to find everything within 1050 U of this base computer. Alright? It doesn't mean that they're going to be good hotspots, they could all be C-class for all I know, but you will find them all, because there will be at least 16 hotspots within range. Okay? So, first things first, you need to have this survey device installed on your multi-tool. Okay? And that requires 4 sodium diode, 2 cobalt mirrors, and 2 wiring looms. Okay? And if you dismantle, you get half of that back. Right? But you cannot do this without that survey device active, and you need to go to the anomaly to buy that. Okay? So, you go into your scanner and you press left or right. Alright, so I pressed right and it's gone to the gas one first. Okay, so there's a C-class gas in that direction, roughly 280 units away. Here we've got deep level mineral deposit, again it's C-class, roughly 500 almost in approximately that direction. Always start though with your electromagnetic power. Now, depending on where you're stood, you might not have all of these come up like it has done for me here, which is quite lucky. So you'll just have to move around a bit until they do pop up. Unfortunately, you can now only search for one at a time, so at the moment I'm searching for power. I'm going in the general direction that it's showing me. Right, now you'll notice that... oh no, I'm right there. Never mind. Okay, so we've got a C-class power right about here. So let's switch to one of the others. Right, there's an A-class mineral deposit close to me. So we'll go... and you want to try and keep it so that both of them are flashing, both the left and the right. So that's how you know you're going in the right direction. Right, see how that skipped to the right there? That's because it's slightly off. Once you're within about 15 or 20, it'll start analysing it. Okay, so that's a paraffinium, whatever you want to call it. Now if we look back towards our base computer, wherever it is, where is it? It's not mine. I have lost my base computer. Oh, there it is. Alright, you'll see that I'm 648 units away. Alright, now you can go up to 1,000 and still be fine, because you can always extend your base range out to the 1,000 point. Okay, so I'll show you that in a minute. So literally right here is as far as we can physically take our character and still build. Okay, however, there is still the build camera. Just came out of it. Why did I come out of it? Now the build camera will get you approximately another 50 U out. Why is this not stopping me? That's interesting. Oh, I've got that camera mod on. Okay, usually it will only get you another 50 U out, which is about to that tree I'm looking at right there. And then from that point, you can build. As far as you can see. So usually you'd be at the end of your cone about here. So you'd be pressing against the little circular cone, but you can still build like as far as you can see. depending on what object you're trying to place, you might not be able to get much further, like the circular room there isn't like it any further than that. But we're talking largely about building industrial stuff. Alright, okay, fine. So you're only going to get about that far out. But that's not a problem, because within this 1,000 units from your base computer, you're almost certainly going to have found everything you need anyway, and it might be that the odd one is in this extra space, but you will find them all. Okay, so let's see. We've got our power. We've got our paraffinium there. Oh, there's an S-class gas cloud in that direction. Alright, now, what direction? Where is it? There. Oh, you'll notice it's moving quite slowly, these left and right bumper thingies. That's because I'm so far away from it. Alright, so that's one of the ways that you can tell. Alright, this will get faster and faster as I get closer and closer. If you've got your volume up as well, you'll hear a lot, even if there's not anything within range, so not coming up on all this, you'll still hear sort of beeping and clicking that indicates that something is in that particular direction. Alright, so at the moment I'm searching for gas, but should I have been searching for gas and it didn't come up or anything, I could still use my ears to figure out what direction the gas is actually in, even if it wasn't showing anything up on the screen. Right, now, the hotspot, this gas hotspot is labelled as right here, right, and local concentration 85 to 100%. Right, so if I build right here, it's going to be 100%, and if I build far enough out, it will be 85% before it finally drops away. But the concentration right here, where I'm stood, is exactly the same as the concentration way up into the atmosphere in this exact same spot. Okay, so it does not disappear as you go up and down, only as you go outwards. Alright, so if I wanted to build my my gas, in this case deposit, my gas collectors even, from the spot in the ground all the way up into the upper atmosphere, I can do that. Okay, so where is it exactly again? Somewhere around here, I've lost it. It's because it wasn't in the gas thing. Okay, so I would build my gas extractor right here, hopefully flat and pointing upwards, right, and then build on top of it. Alright, using my build camera to make it easy. Okay, and this way you are not losing any of the percentage, right? So these are all going to be 100%, 100%, 100%. Right, now as it's a bit tilted, I would try and write that. Which is quite difficult to do. So it tries very hard to build either on the top or on the sides, but you could potentially, where is it? Like a triangle or something. Those are primitive shapes, that's probably the best bet, wherever they are. Totally forgotten where they are. Specialist. I don't know. But maybe lay a foundation if you're worried about this, or a bit of paving, so that you end up building straight. Anyway, obviously you have to wire them all up, which we'll do in a second, but let's just focus on the fact that I've built, even though I'm 665 units away from my base. Right, that's because of a mod. I apologise, I forgot to take it off. But what you will need to do is mark the area that you have found the hotspot, right, just to make it easier, and you can do that with a signal booster or a thingamabob, safe beacon, right, and just mark them as different colours so you can tell which ones are which. Missing component. Too little plating. Why do I never seem to have metal plating? What's missing from there? Oh, I've just used it all up to build all them, that's why. Okay, so that little purple icon there is going to show up for us no matter how far away we go. Okay. Now, don't overuse them because you can only build, I can't remember if it's 3 or 5 per planet, I've forgotten. But yeah, you can't build loads, so don't overuse them. Just use them for the ones the hotspots that you know you're actually going to use. That was an S-class, so I'm definitely going to use that one. Okay, right, so we're back at base computer. What we want to do is we want to keep our eye on the base computer, right, but travel in the direction of the hotspot. Right, and we want to do that until we get 300 units away from our base computer. Okay, because that is our basic range of bases straight off the bat. As soon as you build your base computer, you get 300 U to play with. So about here. Alright, I'll drop down to the ground, that's fine. What you're going to do is you're going to build something. It doesn't matter what. Just build something around here and it will give you an extra 50 U to play with. Right, now I recommend going over to industrial and building a supply depot. Right, and you'll understand why in a little bit. Alright, but building that gives me another 50 U to play with. Right, at which point you can go into your build camera and it will automatically, if you haven't got the stupid mod on that I have, it will automatically take you 50 U away from the one you just built, and then it won't let you go any further. Alright, at which point you just place another supply depot down at the edge. Alright, and you just keep doing that until you reach your destination all the way over at your hotspot. Okay, and then all you got to do is wire it all up and pipe it all up, right? So you just put your pipes to connect each one. Alright. And then you pipe it from your collectors back through the various silos that you've just built to extend. Alright. So imagine that I've built loads there. It wouldn't be loads, it'll only ever be a maximum of 10 of them that you'll need to get out to your hotspot, and it's really handy because what you've then done is you've increased your storage for that particular thing. So this will be storing nitrogen when it starts pumping, when I power it. Right, and then you want a silo ready for you back at base. Alright, so you then connect this one that's at 300 U, you connect that back to the one that's at base. Now, if I recall correctly, I think that these pipes can only go 200 U, right? But that is not a problem because at any given time, right, you can stop and start a pipe or a wire, right? So what I've just done there, you see it's connected to a point I just clicked here, and then it just keeps going. Alright, so you don't have to stretch your one pipe all the way back to base, alright? You can just stop and start like so. Okay? And the same goes for any electrical wiring. And the only difference really that you need to bear in mind about piping and electrical wiring is that the electrical wiring you can come back to at any time. The piping, on the other hand, if I finish it here, and then I come out of it, that's it, that's the end point. I can't connect to that again. Right, it's gone. So you need to make sure that you're actually connecting it up to a silo before you come out of the menu, basically. Whereas, just delete that, with the electrical wiring, I can create a wire. Can't see it very well because of the grass, but whatever. create a bunch of wires there, right? Come out of the menu altogether, go back in and find the endpoint, which is there, and continue. Alright, so with wiring you don't have to worry too much. Like, you can do it as and when you need to do it, but with piping you need to get it right first time basically. So always have your silo back at base ready for waiting for you to connect up to before you start running the pipe back. Okay, so we have our gas one, but we really need to connect up electricity to it so that it will actually start going. So where was that electromagnetic power one? Right, that direction. So once again we are going to prepare by having something ready near the base, so we'll just do it here, it's fine. We want a battery, right? Just a single battery, that's all we need. Alright, now this time when we're extending out, if we need to extend out from our base, this time we're not going to use silos, we're going to use batteries. Okay, because it's a power hotspot and we want help wiring up rather than piping up. Okay, so how far are we from the base computer? 212, so we can go to 300U, about here, and throw down the battery. Okay, a little tip for you: if you do the wiring this way and not through that way, alright, but actually through the menu, alright, you can start your wire as you extend. Okay, I've lost where I'm going now. Where am I going? Does anyone remember where the power hotspot was? Ah, there. It's only 57U away, but yeah, you can stop and start. Start the power line right here and start walking. Right now, as soon as you hit your 50U, it will come out of this menu. Alright, it's not going to do it for me, but it will come out of this menu, and you'll just go to your normal build menu that only allows you your portable stuff. Alright, just take a tiny step back and then reopen your power menu again. Alright, and you'll notice that the wire is still there, and it will continue to still be there when we switch to battery, because we're right on the edge, build a new battery, go back to the wire, it's still there. Okay, so you can connect it up straight away. Those two batteries are now joined. Okay, alright. Literally right there in front of me. So, let's build electromagnetic generator. Go into the build camera. And once again, we're going to build upwards. Now you can make these look pretty if you want, and do like a little tree with them. So instead of just building straight up, you can build like this if you really want. Personally, I quite like building them straight up because it means that in future I can see exactly where they are from any point in the planet. Oh, I haven't got enough metal plates in for this, but you get the point. Build as many of these as you need. Alright, just interact with them, and it'll show you how much power it's actually creating. Interact with your battery back at base that's connected to your actual base to see how much you'll actually need, which I'll show you more of in just a second. But if I go to the electrical wiring, okay, I'm going to connect up these ones together. Make sure you do actually connect them all up, otherwise it's pointless you having built them. The wiring doesn't have to be super complicated, just do a single line through each of them. It's easy enough. I can't really see, but I think I'd already wired that to the other one, hadn't I? Where the other one's gone. So I picked a terrible planet to do this on because the grass is too big, I can't really see what I'm doing. There's the other battery. Excellent, and yeah, it's already wired up. So if I have a look at this battery, you'll see it's starting to store some of that power up to 576 kps. Okay, so I'm going to take this wire, I'm going to go connect it either back to base or to my nearest hotspot, whichever one's closest. That looks quite far away to me, whereas my base is fairly close, so I'm going to go back to base with it, and then I can power the hotspots from the base. Okay. Right. Now you'll notice that it's not liking how far I've gone with the wire. Oh, hello. Okay. So there's that battery connected. And then yeah, you would hopefully have one that's literally right next to your actual base. Here's these wires that I created earlier. And now they're all blue. Okay. So you can stop and start the wires whenever you want, like I said. Alright, if I now want to build something around here and connect the wire to it, I can do that. Okay. And then when you're going out to your various hotspots, you just want to find the battery that is closest to it. So I wouldn't, from here, I wouldn't go from my base out to this hotspot. I would go from this battery because it's closest. Okay, so if another hotspot is what's closest to the hotspot you're trying to wire to, then go from the hotspot, don't go from the base. Alright, just wherever your closest thing is, use that. And if you can, try to follow your wires and your pipes together. Okay, so I'm going to stop and start there, along with the pipe. Right, now at some point this blue line will, of the wiring will turn red because I'll have gone too far. And this is an issue that a lot of people seem to have. They don't realise that. I'm guessing we're at the limit. Yeah, they don't realise that they can stop and start, and they think that just because it's turned red that just means it's the furthest they can go with it. That's not the case. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is power that one. Alright, from there I need to power the rest, so I'll go to that one, and to that one, and to that one. Alright, so these are now producing 545 nitrogen per hour. Alright, it will take another almost 7 minutes to produce all of that. And because of the silos that I've built, we've got 2000 nitrogen storage. Okay, so every hour it's in total going to extract 2110 per hour. Okay, and it's the 500 that I was talking about here. The 545 is this one specific gas extractor here. Okay, the one above it also 545, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is now working, so I can get rid of this save beacon right here. Right, so I can reuse it at another hotspot. Okay, so it's now in my inventory. There. Just gonna remake some metal plating. See, for me the metal plating is the most infuriating part of all of this, because I constantly run out of it while I'm building these things. Okay, so far we've found a gas, nitrogen. There will also be oxygen somewhere, but all the rest of the gases on this particular planet will also be nitrogen. Alright, whichever, aside from oxygen, whatever gas you find, it's going to keep being that gas. Okay, the mineral deposits, of which there's another one over this way somewhere. We'd already found paraffinium over there. Okay, if I go approximately 500 U in this direction. And don't forget, just because something is whatever amount of U away from where you're currently stood doesn't mean it's that amount of U away from your base computer, which is what's actually important. Okay, so we've just come from a gas deposit, and this mineral deposit is, or this mineral hotspot, sorry, was what, about 600 units away, I've forgotten. Right, but from our base computer, 1080, right? So this one is going to be very difficult to get to. It'll be possible, but very, very difficult. Okay, so you would extend out to the top of this hill probably, right, and then have to use the build camera to get the little bit extra, and then you'd have to build just the tiniest bit in the distance basically, right, to build here. So this one's a very difficult one to get to, so it's not exactly the most optimum one to use. It's copper. It is only C-class, but if you can find a better copper one, go use that one. Right, now, that is saying 200 U in that direction. Right, now I can already tell that that's going to take me too far away from my base computer. That's not getting me any closer to my base computer, which is in the complete opposite direction. So we are going to 100% abandon the idea of going to that gas cloud. Okay. So now that we know we're somewhere on the edges of our range, right, we want to stay on the edges of our range and try and sort of circle our base. Okay. So what I mean by that, alright, let's get to 1000. Alright, so here, that's about the distance in this direction that we should be aiming for. Alright, I'm going to pick a direction and travel in it, making sure that I don't switch too far away from my base. Okay, so we're trying to stay approximately 1000 U away from our base while we're looking for other hotspots. Okay. And once you've done this a few times, you'll start to have like patterns that you'll follow while you're looking. Alright, some people like to make a little cross shape going north, south, east and west out from their base, and then just fill in the blanks from there. It is worth noting that when you leave your planet or warp or whatever, all of these little icons that you've highlighted will disappear, so make sure that you're doing everything you want to do here hotspot wise in one sitting, or you'll have to end up finding all these all over again. Right, that's a C-class paraffinium, that's not very useful to me. There's another gas cloud in this direction. Right, that is what? Right of that great big hill. The base is over there, so I should be alright. That should still keep me within the right distance. So hopefully it's oxygen, I'm hoping, because we've already got a much better concentrated gas in the nitrogen. Oxygen, there we go. Alright, so again we would extend out to this particular area. You can always call your ship if you don't want to keep building the save beacons or signal boosters. Signal boosters are definitely your better option, by the way. But yeah, you can do mix and matching too if you have to. Yeah, so we're a little under 900 away from, around 900 away from our base. So we would again go to the 300 unit point, which will be around there where I'm pointing, and then extend out using, in this case, silos again. Alright, you only use the batteries for the electromagnetic, the power one. Yeah, use silos for everything else, because what you're doing then is you're extending the amount of minerals or gases that you can store without having to build silo after silo right here on spot or back at base. You're literally using the same thing, the same silos, for both the purposes of storage and the purpose of extending your range. So you don't have to end up building, say, a wall. A lot of people build walls or pathways out to extend, but then you've just used up base parts for no reason. And you do have a limited amount of base parts that you can build in this game, by the way. It's large, it's like 20,000 pieces, but you will get there eventually, believe me. So yeah, just use your silos and your batteries to extend out. You will never, like I said before, you will never end up using more than 10 to get out, because if you think about it, you can extend a 50U radius around each one that you build, but you don't have to build them every 50 spaces, every 50U. You can build them every 100U instead, because then your 50Us for each one overlapped, if that makes sense. So you're going 99 units apart, so that the circle around each one intersects with each other. If I had a very large amount of metal plating, I might be able to show you. Let's make some so I can show you what it is I'm going on about. If you're wondering why I've got some leopard fruit and albumen pearls ready there, they are ready for leopard fruit next weekend's mission, and albumen pearls for the weekend after that. And there are some very interesting things that will happen in the next 2 weekend missions, so please go do them when they pop up. Right, okay, so what I mean by the supply depot silo, whatever you want to call them, 50U thing is, right, I've just built that, and you very briefly, I think, saw a 50U circle pop up. I wish they'd let that stay. Okay, if I put the, just for the purposes of showing you what I'm going on about, if I put the signal, the signal booster right next to it. Right, so we've got our purple icon eventually. There's my purple icon. Is that the wrong thing to build? That was the wrong thing to build. I meant the save beacon. I always get confused between the two, I don't know why. Forget signal boosters. Forget everything I said about signal boosters. It's not them you want to build, it's the save beacons. Right, so I'm going to get 50U away from... It's not going to actually tell me how far away am I, is it? That's annoying. Alright, well I'll guesstimate. Okay, let's say I'm now stood at the 50U mark. So I'll place that down. Alright. That means that around here is the 100U mark. Alright, so... Alright, so there's 100U. I'm guessing, I'm not right, I'm just guessing. I'm guessing that there's 100U between these two silos, right? Which means that the range created by that supply depot goes to about here. Okay, and the range created by that supply depot goes to about here. So they overlap. So walking between these two silos, past this save beacon, you will stay in the build menu. Right, so what I said before about using the build camera to build out another 50U, still do that, but once you've built from that one out to that one, you can delete the one that's stood right here in the middle, because you've still got your build camera range going on in between the two, thanks to that one coming to here and that one coming to here. I hope that makes sense. Right, okay, let's go somewhere high up. There are other videos on this YouTube channel that will that already go into like more depth than I've gone into here, but I was asked to create a few more of these videos, because the more of them there are, the more likely people will start to understand it. So from where I'm stood, out into the distance, which is going to be approximately 1,000 U anyway, right, you will find every hotspot you could possibly imagine, right? So if we look at what's on this planet, if you look on the right near the top of my screen, okay, it says that this particular planet has star bulb, copper, paraffinium and cobalt, right? So the hotspots, the deep level mineral hotspots, will be the same as that, right? It will be copper, paraffinium and cobalt, right? Based on what type of planet this is. This is a lush planet, hence the star bulb, right? Yeah, that will determine what gas is here, right? So in this case nitrogen. You'll always have oxygen as well. So there are 6 different types of hotspot per planet. You'll have oxygen, a concentrated gas that is not oxygen, the 3 minerals that are on the planet naturally as resource deposits, so like these things, right? And there's a paraffinium deposit there. It's different from a hotspot. This is what you mine with your multi-tool. Alright, so just like those are going to be paraffinium, cobalt and copper, the hotspots will also be paraffinium, cobalt and copper. And then the 6th and final hotspot is the power hotspot. Okay, so oxygen, a gas, the 3 minerals and power. If we look at the particular minerals that are on this planet, you'll see you've got copper. That's because I am in a yellow star system, so one of the normal star systems. Alright, if I went to a blue star system, that would be either indium or activated indium, depending on how bad the weather is on that planet. If I went to a red star system, it would be cadmium or activated cadmium, and if I went to a green star system, it would be emerald or activated emerald. Again, it's all dependent on how bad the weather is. If the weather is bad on that planet, you will get an activated element instead of the normal element, and they're worth more. The paraffinium is, because this is a lush planet, it gets paraffinium. Depending on what type of planet it is, you'll get a different thing in that slot. And then the cobalt is one of 8 randomly chosen. Okay, so you could end up with silver or gold or whatever else. If you are on an exotic planet, so the ones with the weird glitch trophies, they obviously don't have a specific planet type, so the paraffinium there wouldn't be paraffinium, it would be a second one from the random list of the 8. Okay, so you could end up with, say, gold and silver, alright, which is quite useful. So then this planet, if this was an exotic planet, it could be copper, gold and silver instead of copper, paraffinium and cobalt. Okay, so I'm just trying to think of what else I can say that I've not already said. Right, we've got plenty in that direction, so let's go in the other direction from my base computer. So my base is over here. We've already got our electromagnetic, so we only really care now about the minerals because we've already got our electromagnetic hotspot, we've already got our oxygen and our other gas, so we'll go in this direction. Now I will say to you, even someone who has done this on literally thousands of planets at this point, because of ridiculous amounts of testing I've done on this whole hotspot thing, you will miss hotspots and end up finding them later. I guarantee you it. No matter how well you've got this down, no matter what kind of way that you go about doing this, you will miss hotspots. So just because you've not found your power hotspot, which is the one that most people struggle with, does not mean it's not there. It does not mean that it is out of range. There will always, without question, be a power hotspot, no matter where you build your base computer. Alright, now you might get tremendously unlucky and find that that power hotspot is literally just, and I mean just, outside of your 1050 range. Right? So you know, like that other mineral hotspot that I was at before was 1080. You can get to that, but just. So if you find that your power hotspot is, I don't know, 1100 away, then you're not going to get to exactly the hotspot. But that's still not like that big a deal, because if your hotspot is say 1,200 away from your base computer, that doesn't mean you can't use it, right? You just can't use it at its strongest. You can still build on the outward thing of it, right? So where's the one I just found? I've lost it. It was right here, right? I was stood up there. Okay, right. So building right here, right? Notice how the density is going up the closer I get to it, alright? So actually, it's labelled behind me as the closest, as the best density. It's not, alright? This is 38 here, and it's labelled over there. No, over wherever it's gone, alright? If you have a look around, right, 39, 38, right, so go this way. I think I'm going to struggle to get the 40, but where I'm currently stood is 39%, right, and the further away I get from it, the more that goes down, right? But as you can see, I could still build all the way over here and still get something. Alright, let's go to where 1% is. Alright, so if I wanted to build 0%, so if I wanted to build right here, I am absolutely ages away. That's 170 U away from the deposit, and I can still get 1%, and that's with a C class. Right, if that was S class, I could go a lot further away and still get something. Right, so just because you can't reach the actual hotspot marker does not mean that you can't use that hotspot. Right, a few other bits to note: do not do multiple bases per planet if you can help it, and certainly don't put them anywhere near each other or near other players' bases, because they will just mess with each other, and your game will get very confused about the stuff that you're building, which base it belongs to. You cannot transfer power between bases. It does not work. Right? But if you really must, say you've got a base over there. Actually, let's use this guy as an example. Right? Say that his base, which is too far away to do it, but say his base was using a power hotspot right where I'm stood. That's fine. I can still use it as well if my base is in the other direction. Right? As long as I don't build my base too close to his, it's not a problem. Right, we can both use the same hotspot, we just need to make sure we don't wire our stuff up to each other's. Okay? As long as you keep stuff separate, you're fine. But I strongly recommend against building a base anywhere near anybody else's base, and certainly not near your own bases. Bear in mind that other players, unless they are currently in your game and you are active, right, so you know you're playing together at this specific moment, unless that is the case, other players will not see multiple bases of yours per planet, right? They will only see the one that you uploaded last. What's going on? The game's glitched out. What's going on? Whatever, I'm sure it'll catch up with me in a second. Probably something to do with the fact that my controller just turned off and on again. The exact moment that happened. Right, so yeah, when you upload your base, and always upload your base for the love of God, so it's essentially what saves the state of your base, is uploading it, and it's certainly what allows other people to see what your base currently looks like. But yeah, when you upload your base, it becomes the dominant base for that planet of yours, right? So if you've got 12 different bases on that planet, players who are not currently in your game are only going to see the one of those 12 that you last uploaded. Right? The others will not appear for them at all, because you are only entitled to upload one base to the server per planet. Right? It's that simple. So it is, if you're building lots of bases in order to have other people visit them, it is pointless doing that for more than one base per planet. Right? By all means, go to another planet in the same system and build another base there, that's fine. But per planet, only one base. And again, another reason for this being implemented is because of the confusion between base paths and not knowing which base they belong to and all this rubbish. Now you might get lucky if, like for those of you out there that are screaming at the screen right now, yeah, but I've got more than one base per planet and I've wired them up together just fine. Okay, fine. Log out of the game and log back in again and see what happens. Alright, yes, you can get lucky when you are building and you have got multiple bases per planet and they will wire up together perfectly fine until you log off and then it all goes tits up. So, not a good idea at all. Most people won't even be able to get it working like that, but occasionally some people do manage it. But like I say, it will not last, and it is the cause of many a frustration on social media. Right, well, I'm going to have to end this video, not only because I'm starting to ramble, but because it's obviously glitched out. So thanks for watching. I hope that if the other many videos I've already done on this subject didn't explain something to you about this, that this video did cover it. If not, please do ask your questions down in the comments section and I will endeavour to answer them as best as I can. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next No Man's Sky video. Bye!